And tonight on CBS News.
In a shocking development, the federal government says being broke is allowed, but if you're broke and glowing, you are officially now a suspect.
You can't be glowing more than your financial status. Look your problem.
Producers have confirmed next season of Love Island will merge with the Hunger Games. Only one couple will survive the new format. Everyone else dies.
Senator Buck Nutley has unveiled his Big Girthy bill, a new proposal meant to rival the Big Beautiful bill. But does size really matter?
The shocking trend of Labubu violation continues as more and more people are finding their dolls' holes stretched wide open and reeking of shame.
If you thought Bigfoot was bad, wait till you meet his gooey cousin. A kumsquatch was just spotted in Dongwood National Forest.
Did you know IKEA has released a home glory hole kit called the Fuke Hole? It includes pre-drilled panels, mounting brackets, and a stain-proof finish. We begin with breaking news out of Massachusetts, where residents are reeling from what scientists are calling a cum-comet impact.
Officials are asking everyone to stay indoors and to wear N95 masks in case of cum aerolization.
We have breaking news. A laser-guided ship missile has just been launched from Rectomopolis, reportedly targeting Taintsylvania.
We're live from the scene where a laser-guided ship missile launched from Rectomopolis has struck Taintsylvania. This just in, a pubnadal blankets Taint Louis in a thick bush this evening.
Downtown is completely covered in pubic hair, causing highways to close out of caution.
It's coming right for us. We need to get out of here now. Oh my God, it's taking the houses. A massive gizzard has buried Kamlambus in 2 feet of dong load. Locals blame the lack of preparation on Mayor Linda P. Slurp.
The city of Columbus is reeling today after an unprecedented event. What officials are calling a gizzard has left downtown streets. Customs officials at Orbital Port 69 have seized over 420 stolen jork blades, many still warm and dripping. A magnitude 6.9 queefquake rattled Clamlip Valley this morning, releasing a torrent of pussy farts. The children's reading session of This Little Piggy Got Pegged has been cancelled, with parents saying the book is too anatomically detailed for kids.
Lawmakers remain deadlocked on the Big Beautiful bill, with some saying $10 billion more is needed for fleshlights and robo-cooters for dudes on dry spells.
Los Angeles, because she served her fried chicken instead of a quinoa salad. Megan Mayonnaise went to the restaurant called The Last Supper, where she claimed she was flabbergasted that they would serve her fried chicken when she in fact ordered a quinoa salad. Ms. Mayonnaise said waitress Sharkeisha Trinity knowingly gave her fried chicken, although Ms. Mayonnaise pleaded that she didn't want to eat any urban food. We have Ms. Mayonnaise along with her attorney, Roger Bangher. Can you explain how you were feeling, Ms. Mayonnaise?
I told Sharkeisha Trinity 300 times, let me speak with your manager. And she just kept twerking, sticking her tongue out and laughing at me.
We have exclusive CCTV footage from the restaurant of Miss Mayonnaise and Sharkeisha's fried chicken confrontation.
Miss Mayonnaise is suing Sharkeisha Trinity for everything she got, which is 3 deadbeat fathers and $100 in unpaid child support.
We need your $80,000 down payment now.
Can I do 6 child support checks, 1 EBT card, 10 Section 8 credits, and 2 Medicaid payments?
We take it all.
Welcome back to White News Network. I'm your host, Kimberly Kumquat. Today, the BFI released documents that claim no special files exist from that one famous island. Wink, wink. BFI director said, quote unquote, although you've seen plenty of known people at that island, no American people, you were just seeing shit. The BFI office also released perfectly edited 24-hour surveillance footage of that jail cell where the main guy in charge was being held. At this point, these guys are playing in our face. Most of you are too blind to see it.
Welcome back, folks, to the White News Network. I'm your host, Tom Blandley, and tonight a white woman is leaving her husband after trying a YN. HOA President Skylar White told WNN she is filing for divorce because, quote unquote, after trying a YN, you never go back. Her husband, Kevin White, owner of Proud Boys Country Club, says he is devastated by the news and that it is, quote unquote, total malarkey. The divorce hearing is set for July 13th at Cornbread District Family Court. If Mrs. White wins, she will be entitled to half of his shit that she never worked for. Next up, rock star Roger Bangher has already impregnated 3 women on his Fuckfest tour. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Want to do some totally unnecessary shit like mountain jump with a fly suit on? Then head over to whitepeopleshit.com.
Whitepeopleshit.com.
Swim with sharks, it's a blast. Make memories that last.
Whitepeopleshit.com.
double it and give it to the next man?
Double it, man. If I drank that, I'd be gooning straight into the spirit realm.
Respect. But I think those are rookie numbers you pulling, eh? Excuse me, sir. Take 10 bottles of Everclear or double it and give it to the next.
I'm a ma'am, not sir. F off.
Hey, you, fine, shawty. The last dude doubled it, so now it's 20 bottles. What you trying to do?
Double it, babe. I've had 10 exes and I survived worse.
The hus has spoken. Yo, we have 40 bottles now. You taking that or doubling it, big dog?
Double it, bro. I'm bulking, not dying.
Hey, then 80 bottles finna cause a time loop. Ma'am, it's 80 bottles now. You taking it or doubling it?
Double it, baby. I used to chase vodka with cough syrup.
Yo, grandma built like that?
Yeah.
Yo, it's 160 bottles now. You taking it or doubling it, bro?
Double it. I drank that much pledging twice.
This man needs a government intervention. Okay, 320 bottles. You taking it or doubling it, ma'am?
Double it. That's less than I deadlift.
Somebody call NASA.
She not from here.
She not from here. It's 640 bottles now. You taking that or doubling it?
I'll take it. My baby daddy's gonna need a reason to disappear tonight.
Ma'am, this ain't even legal in most galaxies.
WHR, would y'all let me fly the plane to Iran? I thought B2 was my apartment number. Oh my God, did I just start the war? WHR.
All right. Come on. What up? All right, let's do some news, man. What we got? Yo, salute Lord of Brooklyn in the building. Salute Saul in the building. All right, bet. We got started around our almost about to be scheduled time. I'm trying to go on 11 o'clock Eastern Standard, man. All right. I got a good show lined up, actually. Yo, so I don't know if did y'all hear this? That I'm going to be watching this Fort Stewart joint with y'all. I didn't know that there was a shooting at Fort Stewart, and unfortunately, it's a black guy. We'll see if he's FBA. He probably is. Let's go. Yeah. They captured him and everything. So this is local reporting, and then they got a press conference outside of Fort Stewart. We're going to listen to a bit of that afterward.
Fort Stewart in Huntsville.
3rd Infantry Division Commanding General John Lubas says the shooter is in military custody and there is no threat to the community.
We have some cell phone video from Fort Stewart at the time of the shooting that was posted to TikTok. You can see soldiers there rushing to find shelter as the post went on lockdown.
We have crews in Hinesville and Savannah where the wounded soldiers have been taken for treatment. We begin our coverage now, team coverage with WSAV's Sarah Smith at Fort Stewart.
Yeah, Tina and Ben, we're learning more about that shooter and the victim. So we're told that shooter is 28-year-old Cornelius Radford. We do have a picture of him now. He is a sergeant here, and he is with the 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team. He has ties to Florida and has been assigned to Fort Stewart.
Damn, he's a sergeant too. That's crazy. I'm curious to find out what the motivation of the shooting is going to be for.
Since 2022, we also learned he has no previous combat deployments, has been interviewed, and he is awaiting charges. Now, he is an active duty soldier. We want to remind you of that. An active duty soldier here at Fort Stewart, shooting 5 of his fellow soldiers. It happened at their place of work, so all of them were co-workers. We did learn that he was arrested locally for a DUI. We're still working to learn some more.
Yeah, so when it's a white boy, they would have taken time to release the info. Oh, of course, exactly. We know what the play is. But like I said, I'm going to be real interested to see what the motivation is. His eyes is real close together. I'll tell you that, though.
More of those details, and we're unsure if that is related to what took place today. Now, we did also learn this was not a military weapon, and this wasn't related to any training on base. This was his personal weapon. Commanding General John Lupus telling the media a little bit about that situation and security.
Very confident in the security of this installation. We've got a great partnership with local law enforcement. As you can see here at our gates, we have armed guards in protective equipment. This one's a bit difficult, and we're going to have to determine how he was able to get a handgun to his place of duty.
Once again, still an ongoing investigation here on Fort Stewart, and we do have news about those victims. 3 of the 5 did require surgery, but all are in stable condition. Of course, we have several crews out, and I know another crew is at Memorial Hospital, so she'll bring you some more information on that. But of course, officials aren't speculating on Radford's motives at this time. For now, live right outside Fort Stewart Army Base, I'm Sarah Smith, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Sarah, thank you. Officials both in our area and across the state are responding to the shooting. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp releasing a statement earlier today saying we are keeping the victims, their families, and all those who answer the call to serve in our hearts and prayers. And we ask that Georgians everywhere do the same. Hinesville Mayor Carl Rao said in a statement that Fort Stewart is more than a military installation. It is a vital part of Hinesville. The men and women who serve there are our neighbors, our friends, and family. Their safety and well-being matter deeply to us. He finished his statement by saying that the city would stand with Fort Stewart both in times of strength and sorrow.
Fort Stewart is home to hundreds of soldiers and their families, all of whom were placed under lockdown during the shooting. WSAV's Isabella Baez spoke to witnesses as she is joining us with what they've said to her as she shares their stories.
That's right, Tina, Ben. News of a shooting on the military post sent a shockwave throughout this community. Families, schools, and businesses in the area were told to stay indoors or even put on a lockdown. For a period of time, everyone was just waiting, wondering, and praying for the best. I spoke to a local business manager who is from the area and has been here for years. She works right around the corner from the main gate of Fort Stewart. And she said she took her own precautions by staying aware of everyone entering her store, making sure her and her employees were safe, as this is something she hasn't really seen before.
Crazy. So first of all, when you hear the sirens, we always look out the window. Then all of a sudden you hear more sirens, and then more sirens, and then we started counting them. So then we started looking across the street and walked up to the sidewalk, and it was just chaotic. They had the traffic stop. They had cops from all over coming in, people pulling over to the side. It's scary. It's really scary because you just don't know what someone's going through or what's going on. You know?
I spoke to a woman who was in Fort Stewart in a classroom at the time of the incident. She told me her first thought was the safety of others. We hear more from her at News 3 at 6. Reporting in Richmond Hill, I'm Isabella Baez, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Isabella, thank you. Some of the injured soldiers were able to be treated on the post, but several had to be transferred to Memorial Health here in Savannah. And that is where we find WSAV's Christine Quayle, who is working to learn more about their conditions.
Yes, Ben. So it's been a really distinct air of anticipation here today at Memorial for the majority of the day. To kind of give you a little bit of a recap, we had one ambulance come here earlier and the second arrived just a few hours later, escorted by GSP, SPD, Chatham County Police. And normally for such severe injuries, because we're here at Memorial, because this is the only level 1 trauma center in the area where people can be brought for really
All right, let's
severe and
jump to the
serious
doctor.
injuries.
More people to talk to, right? The commanders are allowed to.
Little bit different when it comes to treating military personnel because you have more people involved, but also there's more people who are, willing to be there for them and who are advocating for them.
More people to talk to, right? The commanders are allowed to ask some details that, like other, if your boss came and asked this stuff, we couldn't tell you. So we have to talk to multi-level people. We also get a great deal of support. They all come in with a buddy, so there's always somebody there with them, which is real touching for us. But yeah, we really care about our military.
All right, let's jump to the press conference. That was the local news. It's all covered on Fox and some of the other larger channels, but that was all with their spin. I wanted to see how the local news had covered it. I just found out about this a couple hours ago. All right, let's go to the press conference outside of Fort Stewart.
Angel Tomko, that's spelled Angel. Last name is Tomko, Tomko, and I'm the spokesperson for the 3rd Infantry Division. Today we're here to discuss the incident that took place earlier today on the north side of Fort Stewart installation at the 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team footprint. In just a moment, I'm going to introduce you to Brigadier General John Lubis. That's spelled John, Lubis, Lubas. He's the commanding general of the 3rd Infantry Division. Brigadier General Lubis will make a statement regarding the incident and take a few brief questions. Before we begin, however, I'd like to go over just a couple things with you. We have limited time for questions, given that this is an ongoing investigation, and we may not have all the information that we can share, but we will try to be as transparent as possible. We will not release the name of any victims until the next of kin notification has been complete. We will not speculate as to any intentions, motives, or backstories, given that this is an ongoing investigation. When you ask your questions, we ask that you please give your name and the affiliation in case we need to do a follow-up. And it's low.
Before 11 o'clock, an active duty soldier assigned to Fort Stewart, Georgia, shot and wounded 5 of his fellow soldiers here on Fort Stewart. Thankfully, all are in stable condition and all are expected to recover. The alleged shooter is in custody. We have reestablished security. I have lifted all lockdown measures on Fort Stewart, and there is currently no threat to the local community. I'd like to recognize and thank our Army law enforcement and medical personnel and our partners from local, state, and federal. 2 have been transported to Memorial Hospital in Savannah, Georgia for additional care. We have identified the alleged shooter as Sergeant Cornelius Radford, an automated logistics sergeant assigned to 2nd Brigade Combat Team. Sergeant Radford has not previously deployed to combat. Sergeant Radford has been interviewed by the Army Criminal Investigation Division and is currently in pretrial confinement, awaiting a charging decision by the Office of the Special Trial Counsel. Right now, our primary focus is first on caring for our injured soldiers and their families, and also supporting the soldiers of the Spartan Brigade. All of the families of the victims have been notified, and we're wrapping our arms around them and ensuring we provide them all the support that we can. Before I take questions, I want to remind you that this is an ongoing investigation and we're still gathering questions. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll now take your questions.
General Lewis with the Instructional News. Can you give us what unit he was assigned to?
And how long have you served in the Army? If you didn't mention it.
Yeah, he is assigned to one of our sustainment units here in 2nd Brigade Combat Team at Fort Stewart. And I will have to confirm how long he served with us. Yes, sir.
Sergeant Russ Bynum with the Associated Press. As best you can, knowing it's so early, can you walk us through where this happened, what happened, the shooting, and were the victims subordinates to the sergeants, or were they people over him in rank?
Yeah, right now it's premature, and we're gathering a lot of the information. What we know is the shooting occurred at the soldier's place of work. It did involve his co-workers. We're still not certain about the motivations, but again, he's been interviewed by Army investigators, and we believe we'll gain more information here shortly.
We've heard that the shooter...
WSAV, do you know if this was any kind of training exercise, or were they cleaning any weapons, anything that you know so far?
No, ma'am, we don't have any reason to believe it had anything to do with a training event. Other than that, I can't state the motivations for this soldier.
We've heard that the shooter may have been from Jacksonville, Florida. Are you able to confirm that? We also heard that he had maybe been arrested for a DUI recently.
Yeah, at this point, I can't confirm where he's from. We can follow up on that. I do believe he was arrested locally for a DUI that was unknown to his chain of command until the event occurred, and we started looking into the law enforcement databases.
Robin, from the current, can you tell us whether or not that was a military weapon or whether this was a personal weapon that the person brought on base?
Yes, ma'am. I can confirm it was not a military weapon, and we believe it was a personal handgun.
Just a short from the Savannah Morning News. What does this mean for ongoing security measures that this situation was able to occur with a personal weapon?
Yeah, I'm very confident in the security of this installation. We've got a great partnership with local law enforcement. As you can see here at our gates, we have armed guards in protective.
You mentioned that some soldiers helped subdue him. Do you know if his arrest ultimately was surrendered peacefully, or was his arrest involved?
I don't have the details on that, but I know that his soldiers in the area that witnessed the shooting immediately and without hesitation tackled the soldiers, subdued him, that allowed law enforcement to then take him into custody.
And we've had time for one more question.
I know that you can't speak to the motivation, but if this turns out to be some situation where somebody had extremist beliefs or maybe classified as a terrorist attack, I mean, how does that change the base's response or the base's investigation moving forward?
Yeah, currently we have no reason to believe any of that is the case. However, we continuously assess the threat environment, both in the immediate area and across our Army and DoD installations, and we will address the threat level accordingly.
You have the rank of the shooter?
Yes, sir. He was a sergeant. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your questions. And again, thanks to the local responders and the local community for their help. Thanks and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, so they got a suspect, and it don't seem like they know what the motive is either. I'm going to keep an eye on that story because I got to feel it. Well, I know that Trump issued a statement. I mean, dude's screwed all the way to sundown. But like I said, I want to know what the motivation is. That's wild and random. I got a few theories, but we're going to see how that plays out. All right, man. Let's get to it. Let's do our favorite. Let's do Lefties losing it, and then we'll get into some more of these segments. Quiet Storm, we in here. What up, Playboy? I gotta buy the numbers segment for you tonight. All right, let's do Lefties losing it. You know what? Actually, do I have it? MSNBC got more than photobombed. Some comedian jumped in one of these live MSNBC broadcasts and was like, MSNBC sucks, which is hilarious. I'm gonna turn that into a drop, but I'll play that after we play some of this Lefties losing it, and then we'll get to we got Tom Homman basically saying he's going to take out the cartels. Steve Miller from Trump's administration regarding debanking. Actually, Saul will be interested in that. And then we got some by the numbers, and I want to do another Jasmine Crockett segment with Soldiers of
It's
Finance.
time for Lefties losing it, and Lizzo has taken aim at American Eagle, mocking their ads featuring Sydney Sweeney. First, she posted this to Instagram with the caption, "My jeans
Look
are
how
black."
big her
And
head
then she
is.
released this video.
Oh, give me some space.
And she released this video.
Yo, look at her head, bro. That head looks photoshopped on that. She lost all that weight and her head didn't shrink. That's terrible. Yo, these Keisha's looking goofy walling out about this white girl and some goddamn jeans. And I don't know if you guys noticed either. They did the 1980s joint. Remember in the 80s, all the white girls had flat butts and big boobs? They did one of them joints. The no booty, just everything, bro. So Lizzo looks crazy right now. Look how big her head is.
Oh, give me some space. It's way too hot up in here. I'm sweating out of my lace. Don't need no bottle service. We pulled up with our drinks. Trunk full.
This is what I'm talking about. They talk about the jeans and all that, but they the same ones wearing blonde white girl hair. Yo. Mental illness, bro. Look at this goofy shit. Yo, what up, Kwame? Yo, I got your the MSNBC sucks link. I was actually looking for that joint earlier this week with the comedian bombing, photo bombing, the MSC news conference. We gonna play that joint, but I'm gonna clip that joint up and turn it into a drop. That is hilarious. MSNBC sucks.
Full of that Ace, trunk full of that Henny. If we ain't got no Waffle House, we pulling up to the Denny's. I'ma give him a grand slam, he pulling off of the panties. The way he hit from the back, I might give him one of my Grammys. Did this for the culture, that left, right, and that bend it over. Got scissor and Dolce, I ate that, now let's do it over. What did I told you? I'm going into October.
Crazy, bro. That is crazy. That is crazy work. This supposed to be the clapback to Sydney Sweeney, who's not even thinking about y'all. They'll put this big back up here with a big blonde wig. Yo, this looks crazy, bro.
Like the fun is over. Like summer's over.
You know what? The end of the body positivity movement has been great for Lizzo. She has dropped a lot of weight, which is wonderful for her health. And I'm just glad her pants are intact these days. I'm sorry for what you're about to see.
Oh, come on, man.
Now, this next young lady is here to school us. Unfortunately, around 82% of everything she says is inaccurate, but good on you for trying, love.
First of all, you don't get denim blue without black hands, without black knowledge. So why are they still...
Look at this. Look at this. Look at these Keishas, bro. I'm going to just say offhand, the very fact that so many Keishas is triggered about a jeans ad that don't have nothing to do with them. It's jeans, bro. Nobody. And they are really crashing out over this joint. Look at this goofy broad. Mental health crisis for Keisha, bro.
Still centering whiteness to sell us something that we literally built. The iconic denim blue wouldn't exist without indigo. And indigo didn't grow here. Indigo was brought.
Why does Goofy got a bone through her face? Yo. Shout out to AC, man. He right. Man, y'all better leave these Keishas alone. These American Keishas, you gonna have retarded kids, bro.
Here, along with the people who knew how to grow it, how to ferment it, and how to turn it into dye. That deep blue, our ancestors mastered it long.
Yo, I was just saying that. Yo, they triggered too, man, that it's like an 80s aesthetic. Bro, y'all remember in the 80s, it used to be like, yo, these white girls is hot. White girls was big boobs and flat asses in the 80s and 90s, bro. J-Lo made big butts for Caucasian looking women like a thing. J-Lo and Kim Kardashian. Before that, white girls ain't even want no butt. It was all boobs, or they was just thin. That's why all these Keishas putting their butts to the camera, because you know in that commercial, she puts her jeans on and they zoom in on her basically flat ass. You know what I'm saying? And she puts her hands in the back pocket and walks around. That's how homage to that 80s body aesthetic and what the ads look like.
Long before white people knew what to do with the plan.
Now let's check in on MSNBC.
Yo, you stupid. You said she looks like a Texas Longhorn mascot. Outback Steaks and shit.
The mental health facility posing as a TV network. And I wonder, is Rachel Maddow still having paranoid fantasies about living under a dictatorship? This woman needs help.
Life has not stopped, and none of our personal lives have stopped. But also, at the same time, life in the United States is profoundly changing, is profoundly different than it was even 6 months ago. Because we do now live in a country that has an authoritarian leader in charge. We have a
Bro, this is what I'm talking about. This chick's on her way out. We live in a country that has an authoritarian leader in charge. Trump is doing everything. I'm going to restate it again. First and foremost, Trump has a mandate from the American public. He has won the popular vote and the Electoral College. He detailed a list of things that he was going to do for his political platform when he ran, and that is what his mandate was, and that is why he was given the mandate. And since he has been in office up to these 200 days, he has carried out actions to fulfill the majority of those items on the platform that he ran for, which was mandated by the public. So how is this an authoritarian regime when he is actually implementing what the American people voted for? So are we all authoritarians by that logic? They talk to the MSNBC and these armchair liberals. They talk to us like we're idiots.
validating dictatorship in our country.
Incredible. How that woman shows her face after all the lies, all the misinformation she pushed about the Russian collusion hoax is beyond me. She is shameless. And talking about shameless, just when you thought the awfuls, that's the affluent white female lefties, just when you thought they couldn't get any...
Boom, she's spot on with that. The affluent female lefties. That's the majority of the Democratic Party. And they're lapdogs of the Keishas. Shout out to AC. Becky run Keisha. Quasham said this country would be cooked if Trump didn't win. That's a whole fact, though. All of this foolishness would have been normalized. Speaking of which, if Kamala had won, we'd have Keisha in the military like this.
Hey, y'all, would y'all let me fly the plane to Iran? I thought B2 was my apartment number. Oh my God, did I just start the war?
Crazier. Here they accuse God of not receiving the Virgin Mary's consent.
Well, he didn't. The Holy Spirit conceived Jesus in her womb.
Did Mary give God consent to put Jesus inside of her?
Okay, here is another totally rational awful telling you that if you don't wear masks when you're out of your home, then you're all for killing disabled black folk.
Good genes pass on to all.
I saw this one. Let's just take a look at this image. You see that pink and blue blanket behind her? That's for the Trizans. We don't even know if that's a woman. And this is what I'm talking about, delineation and about these goofy black men in the Democratic Party and these liberals. This is a trans ad and agenda, but they're couching their argument on black people, civil rights, and protecting black people. Since when are we attached to this white trans thing? White in general. That's why I said, if you are a heterosexual black male, other than being some over 65-year-old goofy old ninja boomer, and you're rolling with the Democrats and you're pushing Democratic policies, this is you right here on the screen. This is what you. I mean, just come out. I mean, like I said, I'm be straight up. If you like under like 45, and I run into you, you talk about, oh, you know, you're a Democrat, I'm just going to assume you're a homosexual.
Offspring, that American Eagle ad with Sydney Sweeney, is literally overt eugenics. I know you don't want to hear this, but if you want to talk about how that ad is promoting eugenics, which it absolutely is, we also have to talk about how choosing not to wear a mask when you can during an ongoing pandemic, because you're okay with a certain subset of people, primarily disabled people of color, dying for your own comfort, is also eugenics, just the more normalized kind.
We're going to stick with the awfuls. Here's one in the wild. She thinks she's saving the world by obstructing ICE officers.
Don't fucking push me. You're taking him before I can take a phone number from him?
You need to stop. Right.
You need to stop kidnapping people off the street. 100%. You just raised him away when I'm trying to call his family for him.
We're making an arrest. You need to stay.
Show me
back
your
from my
arrest
way.
warrant then. Show me your arrest warrant.
I don't need to show you anything.
Not because you're a liar.
You're not an interested party. You have no right to see that.
Stop! You guys are kidnapping people off the street.
In this next clip, we've got a very foolish prediction from an awful. Be careful what you wish for, lady.
Unpopular opinion, but if we took all MAGA men from ages 18 to 50 and replaced them with immigrants, violence against women and children would decrease to almost 0%.
Now let's step up the crazy and hear from Democrat Texas State Rep Yolanda Jones. Here she claims American citizens will be deported, and she even compares the Texas redistricting to the Holocaust.
And then integration happened and everybody thought they accepted.
Look at it. This is a goofy Keisha once again. Like, look how hard this Keisha going for. Once again, I keep saying, we got all these black men in jail and everything. And this chick jumping up and down about illegal immigrants. They're not even citizens. These Keishas don't go this hard for the black men in jail.
They don't accept us. They are showing us who they are. We should believe them. And we better have the courage to stand up. Otherwise, we will fall for anything. And in this country, we will be defeated, deported. I mean, we will lose all of our rights. And if you think it can't happen, it can. And I will liken this to the Holocaust. People are like, well, how did the Holocaust happen? How was somebody in a position to kill all them people? Well, good people remain silent. Or good people didn't realize that what happens to them can very soon happen to me or somebody I love.
Can you believe that? You've got Don Lemon just nodding along like the fool he is. Now let's see what happens at a leftist protest when someone is misgendered. Oh no.
Shut up! These are radical Christians in there that are housing neo-Nazis.
Right, but
and you're defending.
They don't,
stupid.
They don't push gays off the top.
Are
of the
you
building.
kidding? Shut the.
This is the Democratic Party. See these she-men right here? This is you black male Democrats allies right here. Yo, I'm so glad we got the internet now, bro. Like, they need to explain this.
Shut the f*** up, you bigot. Shut the f*** up. You don't want to learn.
He needs to learn how to communicate like you.
Shame.
Oh, are you gonna threaten me?
Did you misgender her? Did you misgender her?
Bro, utter madness. Like these black male Democrats, man. Like this is their coalition, bro.
Apparently.
Now, here are some truly confused folk in London. Not only do they not really know what gender they are, but they are chanting for Palestine, a place where they would not be allowed to march, they wouldn't be allowed to chant, they wouldn't be allowed to exist. This is like turkeys chanting for Christmas.
Palestine will live forever. Free, free. Palestine, free, free. Palestine. Palestine. Palestine.
Staying in the UK, the kids are revolting at the University of Birmingham.
We, an autonomous grouping of disenfranchised students, have today entered into occupation inside the building of Guild of Students in the University of Birmingham for the duration of the NUS conference, Lead and Change. After NUS have refused to answer our open letter calling out their complicity in genocide, instead responding indirectly to pressure without acknowledging it by publishing a statement which pretends to call for justice, but which, unlike their older statement on the Middle East crisis,
I don't care
doesn't
about
commit
these
to any
goofies.
Complicit in genocide.
50 universities around the UK.
With prostitutes in a... You went in jail.
Welcome back. Now, watch just how low and deplorable these anti-Trump activists were willing to go, whether they were in the intelligence community or the media. This exchange between James Comey and Stephen Colbert should be studied by future generations. This is beyond Orwellian. And as you watch this, remember Comey knew the Steele dossier was utter fiction, manufactured for the Democrats. Utterly contemptible, beyond contempt. Joining me now is political commentator and author of The Children We Left Behind, Adam B. Coleman. Adam, do you believe James Comey and others complicit in pushing this damaging lie are nervous at all about investigations and possible charges?
I personally think that Comey is too egotistical to think that any sort of accountability will come in his direction. And unfortunately, when we see people in positions of power like Comey, often accountability doesn't come their way. One can only hope that the Trump administration actually follows through and investigates this appropriately, because the American public has gone through years of allegations of Donald Trump colluding with Russia. Blue Anon, Democrats, still perpetuate this lie. Rachel Maddow still perpetuates this lie. Even though it was thoroughly investigated, they put Robert Mueller in charge to lead this investigation, called the man a Boy Scout, and then he came back with absolutely nothing, even though he had all the power to uncover whatever he wanted to and interview everyone, and came up with nothing. So yeah, absolutely. I think the American public deserves to have this thoroughly investigated.
And actually, this goes to the by the numbers segment tonight, which I've been saying. The American public wants to see someone arrested, and that's actually what the polling. We're doing a mark over at Rasmussen tonight. That's exactly what the polling is indicating. They want to. The American public want to see arrests.
To find out who was behind all this.
Now, the House Republicans have subpoenaed a number of former federal officials and politicians, including Bill and Hillary Clinton. They're doing this in expanding a probe into Jeffrey Epstein. Adam, Bill Clinton may become only the 5th former president to testify before a congressional committee, and I'd imagine that would have a lot of questions about his relationship with Epstein and the number of times he was on that plane and the number of times he may have visited that island.
Yeah, as much as I would love to see him actually on camera answering questions, I doubt that will actually happen. Probably will occur is that he will be non-compliant to an extent where this will become more of a negotiation behind the scenes, which there's precedence for. There will be some sort of legal challenge, if anything. So will this possibly happen? Will the American public get on C-SPAN Bill Clinton answering questions about why he was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein so much on these planes and why they were going to these islands and what was happening there? I don't think we'll actually have that show moment, although it would be absolutely spectacular if I was 100% wrong.
Adam, I think you're 100% right. Bill Clinton is going to do everything within his power to avoid testifying. Now let's move along to Big Balls. Remember him? He made headlines before and he's made them again. Edward.
Yeah, all right, cool. I don't even have to do a separate segment on this. Yeah, Big Balls damn near got beat to death in DC. And here's my thing with this. They're saying he was trying to stop a carjacking and he got beat by 10 kids. I think that's true, but I also think this could be a setup. And those kids could have got paid. I'm just saying.
Coristine, the teenager known as Big Balls, who previously worked at Doge, was viciously bashed in DC by a group of thugs, and Donald Trump has had enough of the out-of-control violence in DC.
I have to say that somebody from Doge was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
Adam, is that just bluster, or do you think the president is serious about stepping in and taking over? Because crime in DC is a real issue.
Well, if he's serious about it, it's a good question. But I think first we have to find out, is it possible? So obviously he has the power to temporarily take control. Maybe under some emergency situation, he can do so. Civil unrest, he can do so. But as far as permanent control, the federal government taking over the police permanently, he would need congressional approval for that to happen. So there would have to be some sort of political might for this to occur. And obviously, there are optics to this. Are they taking away, the voice of the people who elected local officials to be in their positions, who elected their mayor, whether she's doing a good job or not, they have still elected them. So there are a lot of concerns when it comes to that. Is he 100% serious about this? I don't know. He's often a man of the moment who says a lot of loud things because he's just responding to something. But this is still politics. And will he use his political capital to fight for this? I don't think so, at least not at this very moment.
Well,
I think that's a well-reasoned response. But Trump's a wild card. I think that's a well-reasoned response by that guy. The political capital's the big one. Is he going to expend that much political capital? I think like Trump does with most negotiations, he comes in hard and tries to whittle them down somewhere in the middle. So I think they'll do a bunch of negotiation and put a tremendous amount of pressure on the mayor of DC with that threat of federalization looming over their head. Probably increase the budget for more police, etc. We'll see how that plays out. And I know Perfect Square is saying federalizing DC can open up a Pandora's box that could set a dangerous precedent. True, but I wouldn't be necessarily opposed to it. Big Balls is a known internet troll, and I think the story is exactly. And Big Balls is actually the brains behind a lot of the Doge execution, because he created the machine learning model that it's basically allowed them to just go in, pull the data pool, dump it into the LM, and find everything with all the predictive modeling and what have you. That's why Elon took him with him. He's also red pill. Let me phrase this correctly. The left has always been the hyper-violent party. This is one of those we could reach out and touch you type things. I understand the premise of the story. He was with his girlfriend. He saw someone being carjacked. He jumped into it. He got beat down pretty bad. It was 10 dudes. But like I said, that's a classic setup move. Like the fake robbery, the fake assault, right in your eyesight, you jump in, but the whole thing's a setup. Like they do that in the hood. Do you know what I'm saying? And it said they was young boys. Now let's just say the hand and the money at the top didn't pay the young boys directly, but they pay somebody who run the young boys. You know what I'm saying? That shit ain't about nothing. I mean, back in the day in the hood, you get somebody touched over a conversation, over a box of blunts, for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? The whole shit fishy, bro.
Yeah, he is a man of the moment. We had footage of him earlier today on the roof of the White House. You don't see that every day. Before you go, we've seen alligator Alcatraz down in Florida, and now Indiana is getting the Speedway Slammer. Kristi Noem announced this earlier today, a new partnership with the state of Indiana to expand detention beds by 1,000 beds. They're pressing ahead with this agenda despite the abundant bad publicity. They're not stopping with this deportation program.
So said he stole my. He said he stole my name, but yo, you was just ahead of your time, Playboy. That's all. You just ahead of your time. Here, let's knock this Jasmine Crockett out of the way, and then I want to get to. I want to do the MSNBC sucks because it's hilarious. That shows you how people are just done with the mainstream media in general. And it was done by comedian Stein. He's actually a pretty big comedian, so it's funny. And like I said, I'm gonna chop that up and make it a drop. So let's get Jasmine out of the way, and then I want to do Saul. This is Trump is probably just thinking about passing this executive order punishing financial institutions that debank people because of their internet. We were actually, me and Saul were just actually talking about this last night because of their them being canceled on the internet via woke culture, etc., etc. So that's a piece of the war on censorship, which I think is a good thing. Said it could be a catalyst for something bigger. I agree. You and Saul going to cook on that the Sean Flood news case on Sunday. Yes, Tito did a segment of that. All right, you way ahead of me, Quiet Storm. I was actually going to say that to Saul. And yeah, and Tito did a good job doing the detective work on that too. With the not 99% DNA test coming back, meaning that the 3 kids that she had that weren't his probably belonged to one of his relatives. Crazy. Yeah, so we're gonna double back and double down on that. You've seen I recently posted a paternity test joint on the community tab. I think I'm gonna keep reposting that to double down on that. Like, yo, bro, I'm of the opinion, bro, I don't care how old your kids are, you should get one. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how bad it is. I don't care if your kids is in high school. You should still get that. You can get a DNA test like right at the drugstore, bro. You know what I'm saying? Get that toothbrush, get it done, man. Y'all brothers need whoever y'all got kids, especially if y'all got kids with Keisha's, man. Y'all need that peace of mind. You better make sure them kids is yours. Yeah, Perfect Storm say, yeah, a big ball stole your identity, Saul. Let's do this Crockett segment, and I'm so pleased that she is crashing out, and it is not looking good for her, because on this channel we set our sights on her. We're not going to let another Kamala Harris clone rise from the ashes of the Democratic Party. We're going to keep ruining these Keisha's political careers.
Her arrest warrant. And now she's using it to encourage
Let's run
those
it back.
Texas Democrats who fled the state. Jasmine Crockett framed her arrest warrant. And now she's using it to encourage those Texas Democrats who fled the state, shirking their legislative responsibilities. See, they don't want redistricting to succeed, because if it does, it means Democrats are actually going to have to compete in the marketplace.
You say, I had an old Theo Coop DNA segment. Yeah, I used to drop that joint all the time. It's this joint.
Every man walking this planet who's having a baby should have a DNA test. I don't give a damn if you married. I don't give a damn how mad your wife gonna be for asking her. It's not about her. It's about your own protection. If you're dealing with a woman who's opposed to it, I already let you know the caliber of woman that you're dealing with. I have a son. You goddamn right I got a DNA test on mine, and we were married. Was she upset? Yes. Did she get over it? Yes. Would I ever get over the thought of me raising another man's son? No. Fuck that. I'll be damned. Oh man, I'm thinking this kid's not mine, but if I ask her for a DNA test, man, I think she gonna be mad.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Man the fuck up. Every man should have a DNA test for every single child that he has.
Goddamn right.
Off by a dog.
My entertainment for the night. Let's go. Let me see. All right, I got everybody in the chat. All right, let's go. Let's do some Crockett bashing
Of ideas. And you can't do that when all you talk about is Trump hate and race.
No, I'm going to introduce Sojourner Truth.
No, right, look at this. Look at this. We couldn't have started off better. Look at this old nigga. This is what I'm talking about. That's what I tell you. There's two type of black Democratic melodies. One of these old fried chicken eating Negroes and Backdoria. These are the old niggas that gotta go. Look at this. Look at this old walrus mustache. Ugh, I hate these old niggas. I hate these boomer niggas, man.
Sir,
look at old boy. Look at old boy's face.
Of Sojourner Truth.
Look at old boy's face. Look at my man's face.
Sir, how dare you sully the name of Sojourner Truth with that association?
Be your last and final speaker, but let me tell you something. I want to make sure that I make it clear who these people that are standing behind me are, because
and look at the optics of this. This explains it perfectly. What we talk about down in this space with the established lexicon, and now that we becoming political, Saul, cornbread and collard green style. Look at the optics. This is what I'm talking about. This old nigga, these old fucking boomer niggas still handing out bad advice, still pushing us in the wrong direction. And look what we got here. And this is what these old niggas do, man. Simping for these goofy Keishas, these unqualified Keishas, sniffing up under their crotches, and then standing back and letting them speak for them and talk for them and push a goofy agenda. That's why these old niggas gotta go. Every time you turning around, they elevating some goofy Keisha and then letting them talk for everybody and walking us off a fucking plank. You see the same thing in this space. These old niggas gotta go.
I don't think that the American people truly understand the amount of sacrifice that these warriors and heroes are making right now. Most people don't understand that in the Texas House, you only get paid $7,000 as it is as a salary. But these people are saying, listen, we are going to do our job because we understand our oath, unlike those that serve on the federal level and are Republicans, as well as those that serve in our current Supreme Court and happen to have been appointed by Republicans.
They got this Keisha over here, Queen of the Ashes. The party is on fire. They had like 20% approval ratings. You got, look at these goofy old niggas behind her. And these old blown out Keishas. And we supposed to get behind this? Man, y'all better off giving yourself a moonroof, cuz.
As well as those that serve in the Texas House right now and happen to be Republicans. These are people that understand what it is to be a representative. They understand their constituencies, and instead of trying to stomp on them, they want to do everything that they can to stomp for them. And so that's why they're here. Now, let me say, this governor talks a lot of noise, and I made sure that I put up my warrant from 4 years ago.
This goofy ain't passed one piece of legislation and her entire district is in shambles. Yo, black man, y'all gotta get off the plantation. Like I said, the Keisha run everything. A company, government office, district, like a single mother home. And this is an unmarried Keisha in her 40s.
To make it plain that they talk a lot of noise, but these guys are weak. That's why they're over here trying to bully people. Bullies are always weak. The difference is,
and this old Negro back here looking like Captain Caveman. Captain Caveman. And I think he about to lose his seat too. Quiet Storm said this news conference reeks of dehydrated wigs, icy hot Vicks Vapor Rub, and Viagra. Yo, that's a fact. So I said, what district? LMAO. Ain't no more district. Exactly. Yo, Trump was like, okay, you want to run your mouth? Just remove her district. Yeah, Homo sapien. Boy, look like Captain Caveman, bro. And this is the dude who went to the floor with the two, since Trump just got elected, with putting the two impeachment Jones on the floor. And he done got his district drawn out as well. Kwame said she got the the Addams Family cousin at middle part bust down wig on today. Hell yeah, bro. She be wearing them body shapers and all that shit too, cause she got the jelly roll trifecta, bro.
they expect Democrats to kind of be the nice guys that we are. They expect us to take the punch and say thank you. Well, I am here to tell you, not only are we going to...
Y'all niggas stupid. He said I liked them in the old Geico commercials. Oh, so simple a caveman could do it. Universal Black in the building. What up, Playboy? You pulled a Saul on me, man. Australopithecus africanus face ass Negro. Yo, y'all be on the roll with them jaws sometime. I ain't gonna hold you.
Gonna punch back, but we about to beat you down. We are going to win.
Okay, it wouldn't be Jasmine Crockett or modern day Democrats without a reference to violence, which she just delivered. She also made reference to the fact that the Supreme Court Republicans, the Texas Republicans in the House and Senate on Capitol Hill, none of them know how to represent their constituents, to stand up truly for their constituents. But the Democrats in the Texas legislature, they do. They do? By getting up and leaving the state in which they're empowered? Well, yeah, that's Jasmine Crockett.
Yo, we gonna actually have to use that one. Perfect square. Backdorius Africanus? What? That's a good one. We actually gonna have to hashtag that. Backdorius Africanus. Yo, what do you call a black male Democrat? A Backdorius Africanus? That's a good one. That's a t-shirt. Black male Democrat equals Backdorius Africanus. That's funny. Y'all niggas is funny, cuz. Yo, that's funny. I gotta give you one of these for that, bro. That's
Off by a star.
Backdorius Africanus. That's good. You said they unfroze this nigga to be useless. Oh man, y'all niggas on fire tonight. Let's go.
Logic. So we won't delve any further into that. Now, what she was referring to with her arrest warrant back in 2021, she's no stranger to this. She's one of the Democrats that got up and left the state back in 2021 when they had some legislation on voting rights that they were trying to pass. And Democrats didn't like it. So instead of, again, competing in the marketplace for ideas, they just ran away. All right. And civil arrest warrants were issued at that time. Jasmin Crockett got one of those, and she's now wearing that as a badge of honor. Okay. The fact that she got up and fled her constituents, who didn't have the intellectual heft to be able to stand there and debate the merits of her position. But instead she touts.
Exactly. That's the word. Intellectual heft. Exactly. I like intellectual I always use intellectual bandwidth, but exactly. These Democrats, Crockett in particular, does not have the intellectual heft to debate the issues. Neither does Charlemagne, as we saw recently.
And arrest warrant. This is the kind of intellect we're dealing with today in modern politics. But look, Greg Abbott is fed up with the Democrats on this redistricting issue. All right. They, again, $7,000. She talks about they're only making $7,000. Okay. They probably need to be making a lot less. This is not, some endeavor where you are supposed to get rich, right? And no one's forcing them to do it, right?
Texas Governor Greg Abbott has now ordered the State Department of Public Safety to conduct civil arrests of Democrats who did not show up for this afternoon's special legislative session in the Texas State House. Now, this is all part of the fight for control of the U.S. House of Representatives in next year's midterm, and it's playing out in dramatic fashion.
Members, a quorum is not present. The roll has been called and a quorum has not been established.
Now, dozens of Democratic Texas state representatives skipped that special session that began and then, as you saw, was quickly adjourned just about an hour ago, actually fleeing the state in an attempt to block a Trump-led partisan redrawing of the state's congressional map.
All right, let me stop that eunuch right there. You see how he had to add something in there about Trump. It's CNN, crying Negro news. He has to, he's got his marching orders, right? He has to connect this to Trump because, first of all, the word Trump, that sound grabs attention and sells advertising. No, this doesn't have anything to do with Trump. This is Greg Abbott and the Republicans in the state of Texas saying, hey, look, we don't think these districts are correct, and we are going to change that, okay? And it just so happens.
Dude, you out of pocket. This nigga said Greg Abbott is Charles Xavier. I'll take that, but that's still bad funny. Yo. I mean, but he is out here playing like Charles Xavier. Greg Abbott don't play. But Charles Xavier don't, cuz for real. That's what we doing. That's what we doing, Playboy.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
Yo.
Happens that it doesn't suit the Democrats. So, everything that doesn't suit them, they've got to connect it to Trump and Dickless.
Is this true? Yes, it's true.
Nah, man, Biden can't be Magneto. Magneto, like my favorite villain. Biden is weekend at Bernie's, cuz. What we talking about? Magneto, that bull. They are political tethers. Yep, and they have fled. Really, really, Perfect Square? He said, yo, y'all niggas stupid. He said Greg Abbott got 30-inch ribs on his shit.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
Yo, this nigga said 30-inch ribs on his shit.
Let's be nice. Yeah. Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it. I mean, good Lord.
Oh, man, that shit funny, cuz.
This man has no dick.
The CNN reporter there, he is carrying that water for them.
Yo, did he did Soldier of Finance cut that in himself? This man has no, did he do that? I don't think that was part of the news broadcast. He did that, didn't he? Hold on.
Yeah, Dickless.
Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
The CNN reporter there,
yeah, he cut that in because he looked at the camera. He said Dickless. He was like, he had to wait for this drop face.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
Yo, this shit funny.
Is carrying that water for them.
A redrawing that could potentially give Republicans 5 more U.S. seats in the midterms. And in response to Texas Democrats breaking quorum and stopping official state house business, the remaining state lawmakers passed a motion to allow the state house speaker to issue civil warrants for representatives who did not attend the special session. Texas Governor Greg Abbott also threatening to remove any lawmaker who did not show up when the state house convened last hour. State law allows a district court to determine whether a public official has, quote, abandoned their office, though that could become quite a messy, drawn-out process. Now, breaking quorum itself is not a crime, but if state lawmakers had remained in Texas, Abbott could technically order state troops to haul them to the Capitol.
All right. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you agree that these legislators down there in Texas that have fled the state, do you believe that they should be arrested, civilly charged, and possibly lose their seat? I think if you abandon your post, it's dereliction of duty. I'm not sure why you should continue to occupy your seat. See, the Democrats believe that unless they get their way 100%, they're like children. Unless they get their way 100% of the time, they'll just take their ball and, I guess, go to Illinois. Okay. They've also gone to New York as well. Kathy Hochul, she is harboring these legislative fugitives also up there in the deep blue state of New York. Now, Gavin Newsom and some other Democrats are saying, well, we'll just redistrict our states. I find California saying that particularly hilarious because what are you going to do, California? You going to make it more blue? Okay. You're already a staunchly reliable vote for whatever they could nominate literally Daffy Duck for president, and California is a reliable 55 electoral votes, I think it is, for Daffy Duck. Okay. All right. So the Texas House has issued arrest warrants for Democrats who left the state to block congressional redistricting. The warrants apply only within state lines. Okay. Of course, Texas is a big state, but they'd have to be there in order to, invoke that. This makes them largely symbolic warrants, as most of the legislators in question decamped to Illinois, New York, and Massachusetts. Okay. Notice where they went, right? Okay. Surprised they didn't go to California. The Texas House voted Monday afternoon to track down and arrest more than 50 Democrat lawmakers who were not present when the chamber gavelled in after the 85-6 vote. House Speaker Dustin Burrows said he would immediately sign civil warrants for each of the legislators, empowering the chamber's sergeant at arms and state troopers to arrest and bring them to the Capitol.
Yeah, I know. Quiet Story. He said, how are you the hell are you running a live stream and answering comments in your community tab at the same time? I'm everywhere, man. I'm everywhere, man.
They will not face civil or criminal charges from the arrest. The warrants apply only within state lines, again, making them largely symbolic. So this is a move that is just designed to get them back to work, okay? And again, everything, Democrats, look, it's time for you to grow up. Everything doesn't always go your way, okay? So if you did a better job in Texas, it is quite conceivable that one day, because politics is not something that has instantaneous impact, one day, maybe through the force of your ideas, you would be a viable.
Brooklyn Stevie said they gonna send Chuck Norris as Walker, Texas Ranger to make them come back. I used to watch Walker, Texas Ranger, bruh.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
Yo, I used to watch Walker, Texas Ranger. What was that on USA, right? Or TNT?
Alternative for the majority of Texans, okay? And you'd be in power, okay? You'd be the majority. But actions like this prove you're not ready for prime time. Now, I got to give it to the Republicans here in the state of Maryland. They don't have power, okay? But they've never got up and said, we're going to go to Virginia, we're going to go to Pennsylvania and hide out because we don't like the type of legislation that these silly Democrats are putting in place to rob every penny out of the pockets of Marylanders.
It came on CBS. Well, I must have been watching it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was about to say I must have been watching it in syndication. Yeah, that's what I thought. USA. The University. You said, where's Clay Davis? Shit.
In Maryland's never done that. All right, so the Texas Constitution enables quorum breaking by a minority faction of the legislature. It likewise authorizes quorum forcing by the remaining members. So the actions being taken here by the governor and by the House down here in Texas are consistent with the Constitution, okay? So Jasmin Crockett, she's with it because she wants to keep her seat. You got others down there like Representative Al Green. Remember the guy that stood up and shook his cane? I believe he's from Texas. He's either from Texas or the Moors of South Wales.
Okay, yo, this nigga's wildin'. Cause all right, I'm gonna do a Captain Caveman because he do look like Captain Caveman, but he got an American Werewolf in London. That was actually a really good movie, bro. American Werewolf in London. I remember first time I saw that. I was freaked out. I was a young boy, but that was a really good movie.
Some will get that. But in any event, they are desperate to keep their districts and not have to actually compete for them. Jasmin Crockett she's perfectly capable, I believe, based on her educational credentials of, espousing ideas and debating. But that's effort, right? She'd much rather play hood booger, sister girl, okay? Because the majority of her district, as currently constituted, demands nothing more of her.
All right, that's a wrap on that. That was a good segment. Oh man, y'all had me rolling the chat. I lost my concentration for a minute. Let me see which one I want to do. We still got room for one more segment before I do by the numbers. Let's do this one for Saul. Let's do Stephen Miller talking to Kudlow about the debanking executive order Trump's bringing out, because it ties in large to online censorship and cancel culture. You saw they did it to Andrew Tate, cut him off from all his banking and whatnot, and a few other people. As you know, part of so Trump's passing a well, Stephen Miller's saying that we may have an executive order coming soon where he's going to punish financial institutions for debanking American citizens based on political views, et cetera, et cetera. Because I think that prior to Trump winning, remember Letitia James put that false civil suit against him, and he had to basically post like a $500 million bond, like in 7 days type thing, and and based off his assets, none of the banks. I mean, he had more than enough money and assets, but none of the banks would, like, he can't liquidate fast enough, so none of the banks would give him bond. They officially debanked him. Let me tell you something, man. I really like that Trump holds a grudge. No, it's not good in some people, but in Trump's case, it's a good thing because he's in a position to set a lot of shit straight. I'm glad that he hung his mugshot outside the Oval Office, so he got to walk by it every day. So he's reminded that he got to smack these fools around. And this is what I'm talking about. I'll be saying this on the shows, and I'll be saying this to Saul behind the scenes. That first 200 days, this is for Trump. It's a race to the midterms and to the State of the Union. He wants all of the big heavy lifting done. Because you see, like on the side, he's settling his scores, but he handling the business of the people first. But I think he want to leave himself enough room them last 2 years to clean house and take heads and settle all scores while he's got absolute power. As he should. Know what I mean? As he should. Yo, Kwame Kaiju with the $10 super chat. Supporting the goddamn stream. I appreciate you, good sir. I appreciate you. Let's run the gambit.
We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up. Off by a star.
WHR, would y'all let me fly the plane to Iran? I thought B2 was my apartment number. Oh my God, did I just start the war?
Man, fuck all you hoes. Fuck you and your mammy and your granny too. I'm sick of this shit. Fuck all you hoes. Don't give a damn, bitch, what you wanna do.
In a shocking development, the federal government says being broke is allowed, but if you're broke and glowing, you are officially now a suspect.
You can't be glowing more than your financial status. Look your problem.
All right, Bell, let's go. And I like Stephen Miller. I like Stephen Miller a lot. He reminds me of Josh Lyman on The West Wing. Josh Lyman was like one of my favorite characters on West Wing. Let's go.
Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. Bet you liked all those rips, didn't you? You probably liked them all. Go ahead, Steve.
They were great and insightful as usual, my friend.
Thanks very much. So, Steve, I want something else. So, something we talked about in last night's show. Debanking. I mean, it's the most extraordinary story that Mr. Trump was talking on one of the networks yesterday, that J.P. Morgan Chase actually said to him, you got to get all your bank accounts out in 20 days. Debanking. Reputational risk threats or some garbage like that. So the rumors are, of course, that there's going to be a debanking
Bro, that's like I said, look, that's the headline. Trump, top U.S. banks discriminated against me. Yo, I love that Trump is petty, bro. He petty like 50 Cent.
Form executive order coming out. I hope it comes soon. I hope it punishes any of this debanking stuff against, political figures, conservatives, Christians, religious people, oil companies, and you name it. Can you tell us when this executive order is actually going to come out and give us a sense of how tough it's going to be?
Yes, well, as you know better than most, Larry, you've talked about it, you've covered it. We talk a lot about the weaponization of the justice system, but we haven't talked as much about the weaponization of the financial system. One of the worst features of the last 4 years under Biden, the Democrat rule, but of course it also precedes that too, is the use of banking and access to the financial system to enforce a regime of censorship and political control, right? Like something out of a communist country. We all know stories of people who had their platforms, their financial platforms taken away from them simply because of how they thought or how they spoke or what their political beliefs were. As we've explored this and examined this as the White House, we found these practices are even more widespread than previously known. As you mentioned, they use this pretext of reputational risk as a basis for financial censorship, which is truly odious, truly un-American, truly dangerous to liberty in every sense. So we've worked closely with Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, on developing a financial enforcement mechanism to ensure that those who participate in the banking system are not debanking and financially deplatforming Americans as a result of their political beliefs. And we're hopefully going to have that product finished soon, and we'll be able to bring that to the president for signature. As he's identified, this is a top priority for him.
It's a wide range. You're right. The weaponization stuff. I mean, the reputational risk. I mean, that could be anything. I mean, look what they did to President Trump. It was remarkable. He had banked at the Bank of America or J.P. Morgan. All of a sudden, the banks turned him down.
Yeah, he's exhibit A in the weaponization of our financial system.
Yep.
Look, if you can take away the ability of a person to do business, to engage in commerce because of what they believe, then we're not a free country. We're tilting towards, in that case, a Marxist economy or totalitarian economy, but not a free market economy. Champions of freedom and liberty should abhor the idea that large banks can collude or act individually to strangle the finances of people they don't like simply because of what they think, what they believe, or who they are.
And the other part of it, Steve, and you're going to have a chance to change this, I hope. The Federal Reserve, which is the principal bank regulator, not the only one, there's the Office of the Control of the Currency and the FDIC, all these regulators, from time to time under Biden, what did they do? I mean, they debanked Christians. They debanked religious groups. They talked about ESG, which was a way of saying no lending to fossil fuel companies, oil and gas companies, because of this climate radicalism that they were pushing. They talked about you can't make loans to companies unless they pass certain DEI rules.
Yes.
Essentially, super affirmative action stuff. In other words, you got regulators who are over-regulating for political reasons. That's got to stop too. I mean, it's beyond debanking. It now becomes a regulatory supervisory issue.
Yes, financial regulators and banking regulators who have embraced, whether it be DEI or anti-Christian bigotry or the ESG ideology, are all examples of using state power, through either actual regulation or the implicit threat of regulation, which was pervasive during the Biden years, to get our banking system and our financial system to coerce this behavior that is flatly illegal. And that's how you end up with widespread ESG policies, illegal DEI and racial discrimination policies, and other discriminatory regimes all throughout our financial system. The left is very smart when it comes to this in a very sinister, horrible way. They figure out if they can get inside of the financial system, they can take radically unpopular ideals and shove it down the throats of the American people. That's what we're fighting against. That's what we're fighting to reverse. And of course, this administration has been aggressive in using the Department of Justice to make clear that these kinds of policies, DEI in particular, which also a big part of ESG, are illegal and unconstitutional and impermissible in American society.
All right, one more. Put your economic hat on. I know you got one. You can pull it out of your pocket if you like. I am very concerned that the high interest rate policies of one Jerome Powell are blocking what should be a phenomenal Trump boom. Now, I know the president likes to play up the economy, and I understand business investment looks pretty good. I got that. But there are sectors of the economy that don't look so good. Interest rate sectors, interest sensitive. Housing's been in a downturn recession for a couple of years. And housing affects a lot of other industries as well. The car business softening, all right, down to 15 million in sales. There are other areas. Private jobs, look, have really moved down to stall speed.
Yup, I've been saying this. Powell is trying to stifle the economic boom. He's working in direct contradiction to the interests of the American people, the general American public, with regard to the economy. He's got to go.
Speed, to quote Christopher Waller. And without question, the short-term interest rate is about, I don't know, it's at least 150 basis points too high, the Fed's rate. So question is now, what's your assessment of the economy? Do you see the same things? I'm making a plea here. You know, I know we want to be rosy scenario. And I know that the one big beautiful bill is going to power a tremendous future economy. But I'm worried in the next 6 months, Stephen Miller, I'm worried. I'm worried about the stall speed for private jobs. I'm worried about the housing downturn. I'm worried about the automobile downturn. I'm worried about a bunch of things right now. And I see the Federal Reserve as really taking a very hostile position and essentially thwarting, stopping, or at least slowing down the Trump boom. Go ahead, be an economist.
Well, first of all, as you remember, Larry, during the first Trump administration, President Trump built the strongest economy both in the history of this country and also really in the history of the world. And President Trump right now inherited from Joe Biden a dead, flatlined economy. It was a cardiac patient, there would have been no heartbeat. And he has systematically, in a period of just a few months, put in place the most ambitious deregulatory regime in history, the most ambitious pro-energy regime in history. We just got rid of, for example, the endangerment finding, which for those of you who are familiar with that issue, that is the gold standard deregulatory action. In other words, getting rid of the endangerment finding is the most pro-growth deregulatory action you could have in energy and the economy. Obviously, we passed the largest tax cut and reform in American history. We made expensing permanent. And of course, we instituted the enormous reshoring incentives both in that bill and then also combined with President Trump's tariffs and trade deals. Every single thing is in place, Larry, for the greatest jobs boom we have seen in our lifetimes. Of course, we've already seen, as you mentioned in your intro, American workers are gaining back all the jobs they lost in the Biden administration that went to illegal migrants. The only thing that is missing from this entire piece of this extraordinary economic renaissance is the fact that Jerome Powell has kept the interest rates too high.
Yo, everything I've been saying. I've been harping on these interest rates since before Trump was elected. Then afterwards, I've been saying this fucking Jerome Powell guy. What is he doing? I posted cartoons on the community tab. Someone said it in one of the segments the other night, and I think that they hit on it. They're hoping that they can keep the interest rates high long enough so that one leg of the Trump initiative gives, and that inflation can spike and prices will go up, and that there'll be like a domino effect, and then they will have a political cudgel to be like, see, we told you Trump's economic plans were going to ruin the economy.
As you mentioned, has made it harder for young Americans to afford homes and get into the housing market. But let's not understate, Larry, just how much.
Perfect Square. He said, "Yeah, that was me." All right. It was Perfect Square who mentioned something about the price. He said, "That was me, bro."
Much incredible economic policy has been injected here. The tax cuts, the expensing, the deregulation, the American energy.
Spot on, Saul. Exactly. Spot on. Nobody was able to bring manufacturing back to Americans like him, and he brought manufacturing and all sorts of deals back to the United States. Bro, we're talking trillions of dollars.
The historic trade deals. We have opened up so many markets for American exports, Larry, in the EU, in Japan, in Korea. I mean, this is a complete game changer for American manufacturing. Plus, the way the president is investing in and leaning into the industries of the future, like AI, like chips, like semiconductors. So we have a technology boom, we have an innovation boom, we have a manufacturing boom, and we're going to have the jobs boom that we've been talking about. So, yeah, we got to deal with Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve, but the fundamentals that President Trump has put into place are rocket fuel for this economy, and that's why we're seeing this incredible growth in jobs for American workers.
All right.
Yo, he's spot on. I know he's enthusiastic and everything, but he's not capping. He's spot on. That's exact. I say this to Saul behind the scenes. I keep saying, Trump's got all the fundamentals in place. And so once they take these interest rates off, give it a few months, and then the economy's going to take off. Jerome Powell was using the one weapon in the monetary policy arsenal he has, because he has a personal vendetta against Trump. He's more than likely a Democrat. He's one of these. He's just like a Comey or a Brennan or a Paul's Clapper. You know what I'm saying? International Quiet Storm says a huge car manufacturing plant is being built right now on the Mexican U.S. border. I just drove by the signs yesterday. Exactly. Boom, boom, boom. Actually, I'm glad you reminded me. Kwame, let's play your piece of the MSNBC sucks clip. MSNBC sucks, and then we'll do by the numbers to get out of here. We are at the 1 hour 39-minute mark. We should just make it. Kwame Kaiju says, yeah, Jerome Powell is sneak work. Well played, sir. Well played. I was going to mention something about that, and I just decided to bite my tongue so I don't sound like a tin hat. I've been banking for 13 years, and I went to school with a bunch of trust fund kids. I went to school with Dan Quayle's son when he was vice president, Tucker Quayle. We were roommates. That is correct. Yeah, Jerome Powell is sneak working for the British financial empire, among other things, who has been trying to usurp America since 1776. You're on to something there. I will say that. You're on to something there. That and a few other things. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do the piece of the MSNBC sucks with an old boy photo bombing them. And then we'll jump into by the numbers segment, and we'll call it a wrap. There we go. Perfect. All right, let's go. Volume up.
See are going here. They try to do a live cross, but there's an aggrieved young man who looks rather familiar, and he had this important message to impart to MSNBC viewers.
We just watched the speaker gavel out with a whole lot of anger, Kelly. Here's the state of play. Here's the
MSNBC sucks.
Hey, how are you?
MSNBC sucks.
Yo.
MSNBC sucks.
Okay.
See the frustration.
Sometimes this happens. Yep, that's our own Alex Stein, Primetime 99. He's making.
Yo, that's crazy. Somebody from another news network jumped in. That was live on MSNBC. He just bombed them, and I think they gotta. Yeah, let's jump to the switch frame. Let's play a little bit.
MSNBC's remaining viewers know that MSNBC sucks, and he wasn't done yet, though the MSNBC anchor thought he was.
Ryan has cleared the set, as we would like to say. The gentleman moved on. So, Ryan, let me turn back to you. Nicely handled there. Can you give us an update on, as you were walking us through this, we'll all take a breath there. Maybe not. Okay. Go ahead, Ryan. See, hold on 1 second. Yeah. Okay. We're just going to pull the plug there. Thank
Kelly,
you,
this
Ryan.
is all playing out in real time.
It sure
Passion
is.
high.
It sure is.
There's a whole lot of anger here, as you can see.
Yo, hold on. Wait. Let's run that back.
There's a whole.
Yo, wait, hold on. Wait. Look at the black anger with MSNBC. Hold on, we'll pause
playing
it.
out in real time.
It sure
Passion.
is.
He like, yo, this is funny as shit. I work here, but MSNBC does suck. He was like, yeah, I work here, but boy was right. Look at it. Becky is not happy about it. Becky ain't happy, but look at the brother. Look at the brother. He like, yeah, they do suck. But they pay me. I just work here, bro. I just work here.
Is high.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of anger here, as you can see. So we're going to get a control of this and come back to you when we can.
Fair enough. And we recognize people are expressing their views, and we're there to cover it. Thank
Kelly,
you,
this is all-
Ryan.
Young man who looks rather familiar.
Let's do it from the
And he
beginning.
had this important message to impart to MSNBC viewers.
We just watched the speaker gavel out with a whole lot of anger, Kelly. Here's the state of play. Here's the.
MSNBC sucks.
Hey, how are you?
Let's be nice. Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong,
Sometimes this
but you didn't have to say it. I mean, good Lord.
Good one, Quiet Storm.
Yep, that's our own Alex Stein, Primetime 99. He's making sure MSNBC's remaining viewers know that MSNBC sucks, and he wasn't done yet, though the MSNBC anchor thought he was.
Ryan has cleared the set, as we would like to say. The gentleman moved on. So, Ryan, let me turn back to you. Nicely handled there. Can you give us an update on, as you were walking us through this, we'll all take a breath there. Maybe not. Okay. Go ahead, Ryan. See,
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah. Okay. We're just going to pull the plug there. Thank
Kelly,
you,
this
Ryan.
is all playing out in real time.
Let's be nice. Let's be nice. We don't have to
There's a
go
whole lot
there.
of
I mean,
anger
you're not
here, as you can
wrong,
see.
but you didn't have to
So
say
we're
it.
gonna
I mean, good
control of this
Lord.
and come back.
All right, bet that is hilarious. I would have to clip that and make that a drop. The MSNBC sucks drop. Gold. All right, let's jump into some of this by the numbers real quick. We might have to come back and double back and revisit the segment because we're at the 1 hour 45-minute mark. But let's get some. Let's get some. Okay, so this is from Mark over at Rasmussen. And this is transparency isn't good enough. Americans want traders arrested for accountability. I've been saying that, and whatchamacallit? The polls tend to agree. So let's jump.
Concluded that Obama's team manipulated and manufactured.
Let's run some of it back.
writer here. She's really distilling, because there was a lot of stuff. Like, if you read the release, it's a lot harder to follow exactly what went on. So she boiled it down really well there. Treasonous conspiracy. That ICA was the genesis of Russiagate, casting doubt over the legitimacy of Trump's 2016 election and sabotaging his first term. With Obama, the ringleader, says Trump, and Democrat allied media were crucial to its success. I want to go back and show you this. This is the first year of the approval rating of every president going back to Obama 1. And what do you notice is that Trump's first term was the lowest first year of any of the presidents. He literally went under everybody in the beginning of March. And he stayed there all the way until FJB Biden in October of 21. Really, the last week of September. And so his summer had an appalling approval rating, plunging all the way down to some nights in 38 and 37% territory. On no bad news. Like, he was just doing his job. And it was all Rachel Maddow talking about Mueller, all the latest things. They're going to get his tax releases. They're finally going to get Trump. So this was a seditious conspiracy to undermine a president, and it was effective.
This is why we do by the numbers. He's showing how the Russiagate lie and how it was propagated by mainstream media, namely CNN and MSNBC, how it had an adverse effect on Trump's first term numbers, how he was lower than everyone previous to him, how this concerted conspiracy issued by Obama all the way from the Trump was an attempt to sabotage his presidency, and it shows in the numbers.
It was very effective. Now, he was able to turn it around, and people saw through it increasingly over the last couple of years of his term. And of course, the positive economic news and his win stacked up. But imagine what it would have been like if they had not stolen his political capital with this very, very cynical misuse of power and blatant lying. It really is treasonous. And I think heads need to roll. And so does the American people.
Yes, sir. Yo, he said, yes, sir. He said the quiet part out loud. It is treasonous, and heads need to roll.
We'll do it live. Okay. No. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live.
People. So let's get to the crosstabs. These are pretty good. Now, she made a lot of news about how closely people are following it. I don't know. I think this number of people will say they're closely following anything. 32% very closely, 33% somewhat. So it's a combined total of 65. That's roughly about how closely people are following things like Epstein. But, you know, if there was like a celebrity suicide or some kind of like scandal with, like, you know what I mean? Like, people would say higher because it would be in the news more. Like Miranda Devine said, this is not getting into the news. It's not driving narratives. Who's following it more very closely is older voters, and that's a very pleasant sign. I hope this turns them around because I think they're souring on Trump a little bit because of stuff like fears that he might cut Medicaid. And also, you know, 18 to 29-year-olds are more getting online stuff. And you have to admit that this just doesn't have the same kind of pizzazz as the Epstein stuff did. 18 to 29-year-olds were following that more closely. White voters following it more closely, but not by much. And Republicans more. 41% very, still kind of low, but a combined 74%, at least somewhat closely. But a decent number of Democrats roughly tying independents. So not that much to see there. But a recent report from the DNI concluded that President Obama's national security team manipulated and manufactured intelligence to promote a false narrative about Russia and Donald Trump. You could say, all right, I'm priming the question. And it's like, yeah, but it's a very straightforward, factual statement. This happened. What do you think about it? We ask these questions all the time. And I disclose the exact words that I say to people. This isn't, hey, President Obama killed a kitten. What do you think about President Obama? And then I leave that part out of the question. We don't do that here. We don't do push polling. This is a very legitimate question. How likely is it that Obama administration officials committed serious crimes in manipulating intelligence? So what this is kind of like saying, hey, the DNI, a government official, which some people might not trust, even if it's Trump, concluded that Obama's team manipulated and manufactured intelligence to promote a false narrative about Russia and Donald Trump. How likely is it that they committed serious crimes? So it's like, if they manipulated intelligence, is that manipulation a serious crime? And a majority agree with that, 54%. Did I do that right? 54% to 41%. A 13-point majority. Meanwhile, at the time, Trump was underwater 3 points. And only 28% say not at all likely. 37% say very likely. That's a really strong signal. It's not quite the Department of Justice's Banana Republic type signal, but I'd say that this is pretty good considering that this is all really brand new. It's the summer. News isn't really covering it. It doesn't have a whole lot of sizzle. People have been hearing about Russia collusion for years and years and years now. And so I think these numbers are going to go up. This is a very bad sign for them. Again, 65 and older, very closely watching it. But, look, a combined total of 65% of 18 to 29-year-olds. That's a big deal. More men than women. A lot of Hispanic voters. Miranda was talking about that. 2/3 of Hispanic voters say it's likely. 60% of Republicans say very likely, 23% somewhat, 83%. So Republicans, that's a really high number. Remember, 15% of Republicans plus in my polls say they voted for Harris. So this is a really high number. It's almost all of the Trump supporting Republicans are like, yes, Obama officials likely committed serious crimes. 47% of independents say it's likely. 46% say not likely. So they're split, acknowledging that they're underwater 11 points with Trump right now. And 32% of Democrats. Only 46% of Democrats say not at all likely. So less than half of Democrats confidently refute that Obama officials committed serious crimes with the intelligence community. That's wild. Like, that's a big deal. Let me just look at income and education quick, see if there's a signal. Middle income, say more likely than the barbell ends there. Yeah. The higher your education, the less likely you are to think that these officials committed serious crimes. That's wild. That is literally buying into this system of credentialed institutional trust. Isn't that gross? Like, that just I don't like seeing that. 21% of Harris voters say likely. 88% of Trump voters say likely. That's pretty much everybody. And the last question, agree with the quote. This is the heads rolling signal. I asked our managing editor, let's write a question about heads rolling, about criminal accountability. Because my hypothesis was that Americans want arrests, not just transparency. Do you agree or disagree with this statement about the manipulation of intelligence in the Obama administration? Accountability has to take place. It's critical for the survival of our country that people who perpetrated such crimes are held accountable. And everybody agrees. 69% agree, 48% strongly, 21% disagree. So only 54% think that maybe this manipulation of intelligence by the Obama administration is a serious crime. But then you're like, well, accountability has to take place, though. if people perpetrated crimes, they have to be held accountable. Everybody agrees. Only 11% strongly disagree. And what's wild is that, again, 18 to 29-year-olds weren't following this as closely, but you sprinkle accountability on here, and their number shoots up. 41% say strongly agree. 66% of them, 2/3 of them agree. That's crazy. Women catch back up to men when you say accountability. White voters, accountability, they like that word. 69% of white voters. But, you know, everybody's almost there. The Hispanic number beats the white number. The black number's high, 65%, but it's not. What's that with Hispanics? That's 74%. Republicans, 86%, all of them. 59% of Democrats. 38% strongly agree. This is what I mean. Don't say transparency. It's not good enough. Justice, accountability, criminal accountability, arrests. That's what will cure our crisis level lack of institutional trust. It's really the only way. You can't just beg and plead people to return to a system of integrity. People who have been enriching themselves, people who have broken the rules and committed crimes, they're not just going to come clean because you're begging them to, or because you're saying that now that I'm in charge, they are clean. They're going to laugh at you and keep breaking the rules. The only thing that's going to work with these people is to throw enough of them in jail that people get to the top of the heap that are willing to rebuild a system of trust and integrity.
All right, perfect. That's actually a much longer segment, so we're going to double back on that tomorrow, and I'll break at the 1 hour, 30-minute mark so we can go through the rest of the segment. But that's the general sentiment. That's my time for tonight, gentlemen. Thanks for supporting the stream. Thanks for dropping by. I will see you tomorrow. Same back. We're on with Obsidian tomorrow, so I'll be back on Friday, and we'll double back on this. In the meantime, good night and good luck.
Sorry.
Hey, where's Stewie?
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter.
There it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean, to play us out? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today, and we'll leave you with a... I can't do it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Stewie Griffin. Thanks for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.